How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Elvis Junction Reviews. Today we're looking at another Athearn Genesis product. We are looking at an Athearn Genesis SD70 Ace Uni-Pacific 1983, the Western Pacific Heritage Unit, and this is the updated version with PTC. So we're gonna waste no time. And as you can see, this is from the 75th anniversary line of Athearn. So let's get that big, nice blue box off. Here is our exploded diagram, of the locomotive. Sorry for shaking you like that. And as you can see, we have a lot of parts and details here for this locomotive, which is very nice. And on the back is a list of the parts. So let's say you break a piece off, you can contact Athearn's customer support, and they will send you that piece. We have a piece of paper, which is basically the Horizon Hobbies product warranty. So it's about a year, I believe, that it lasts. And we have the sign up for Athearn News, which we always throw away because I'm already signed up for that. We have a nice foam sheet protecting the locomotive. And there it is inside of its lovely box, as you can see. Plastic. Let's move the other box off to the side here. Now you can see it looks all nice and protected. Let's take that blister package off. Take this piece of foam off. Open up the clamshell. I hope this is still in frame. Yes, it is. And as you can see, there's this nice big clear plastic sheet protecting the locomotive. And there it is. There's our locomotive. And let's just pull it out. And as you can see, there's some foam right here, which we're just going to yank out of here gently, obviously. And there it is right there. All right, so now we have the foam off. We're gonna set the locomotive down right here so I can get the plastic out of here. Alrighty, let us get into some history, not only about this locomotive, but also about the SD70 Ace. And now onto some history. Introduced in 2005 for heavy haul freight applications, the SD70 ACE was EMD's answer to the rise of the General Electric Evolution series of locomotives. Using AC traction, the locomotive produced 4,300 horsepower and is quite the common sight on modern railroads today. In fact, almost every Class 1 railroad has owned an SD70 ACE. Some have already retired their locomotives because of early problems, but many are still around today. Most SD70s, if they have not been involved in wrecks, pretty much most of them all are in service, with a few exceptions like UP 4141, which is the George H.W. Bush Hare locomotive, which is currently at the Presidential Library. And CSX's SD70 Aces became Progress Rail locomotives. And as for our locomotive here, 1983, well, that's still in active service, and let's actually go into a bit of history about that. The Western Pacific, going into the 1980s, was struggling financially because of the competition between the Southern Pacific and the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe, and their financial woes were just becoming too overbearing. So, on December 22nd, in 1982, the Union Pacific purchased the Western Pacific, acquiring all their locomotives and all of their rail lines. In 2005, the UP 1983 was unveiled along with UP 1982, and she is still in service today. In fact, I have seen her at least twice now on the main line, and it's a very good-looking locomotive. So, let us get into some details, starting with the front. Alrighty, so we're currently looking at the front of the locomotive, and we're going to be starting from the top and working our way down the bottom, as we usually do. Starting at the top here, we have our lovely grab irons right here, one right here, and one right here. Underneath those grab irons is a UP stencil, and one on either side. Then we have our number boards right here, that's a 1983, and here is our forehead mounted headlight. And underneath all of this is our cab windows, which have separately applied window wipers. As we focus in here on the nose, we can see a grab iron right here, as well as two grab irons that are right here and one right here. You will be able to see those in a lot better detail when we are doing our overview of the roof. We have another grab iron right here and one right here. There's actually, what's very interesting is there's only one grab iron on the slanted part of the nose. There's not one right here. Here are our sand filler hatches, one right here and one right here. We have our big WP for Western Pacific on the front of the nose, along with the orange stripes. Here is the door to access the cab from inside, access the cab from directly the front of the locomotive. We have some grab irons that work their way from the top of the nose down to the bottom where the walkway is. We have two more grab irons, one right here and also one right here. We have our handrails right here, and they work their way down to the bottom where the steps are. And there's our walkway light right there, which does not operate, which is a shame, but oh well. Moving on to the pilot of the locomotive, you will notice something a little bit odd about the ditch lights. You will see one is a little more funky looking than the other, and I don't know if that's just due to quality control or the factory. I have yet to run this locomotive and see how it performs, so I will definitely pull out the track and look at it to make sure it does work, and I will let you know before the video is over. But anyway, we have our ditch lights, and they're on top of the anti-climber here, which has this white stripe. Here we go. We have some MU outlets right underneath the anti-climber, as you can just see them under there. Here is our coupler cut bar, which runs the width of the locomotive, and you can see some glue blemishes, which is a bit of a shame. That will definitely have some points off at the end. We have our MU cables right here, 3 on either side of the plow, and as you can see, they go through the plow, through these little holes cut out at the top. Here is our coupler right here, which is made out of plastic. Here is our snowplow, and here is our air hose. All right, so now let's look at the back. Looking at the back of the locomotive, starting at the top here, we have a grab iron right up here for when you need to walk up and climb up. So you grab this grab iron here and you can climb on top of the locomotive. Speaking of other grab irons, we have some grab irons that work their way from the top of the locomotive here down to the walkway, just like on the front. This, I don't know what this is, so if anybody could please tell me what exactly this is, I would greatly appreciate that. Here is our sand filler hatch for the rear truck. Here is our rear mounted headlight, and we have some more stencils, UP 1983 on either side of the headlight. There is a door with see-through grates, which is this directly behind this headlight is the dynamic brake fan. So you need to get access, so you'd open this door in, you can climb inside. We have another grab iron right here, and I just noticed there's another grab iron right here as well. Here's our rear handrails right here, our rear anti-climber, our coupler cut bar, as well as a few more MU outlets right here. We have our MU cables, 3 on either side again, our coupler here. Here is our air brake hose, and we have our spare knuckle couplers. And as you can see, this one has an F above it for front, and this one has an E above it for end. All right, so now let's get into some side detail. Looking at the side of the locomotive, we're looking at the conductor's side first. First of all, you can see that grab iron that I did mention during the front detail. We have some electrical boxes right here. Right underneath the cab windows, we have UP 1983, and right here is SD70 ACE. Let me know if you see this too, but I think that the SD70 ACE is slightly slanted upwards with like a 1 to 2 degree angle going that way, like towards the handrails here. If you see it too, let me know, because either my mind is playing tricks on me, or that's a result of bad quality control. Anyway, here is our phenomenal truck detail, and as you can see, here are the springs and the shock absorbers, which is really cool because if you had this floating up in the air, actually I can probably do that, it kind of looks like it's moving like on bad rail, which is really cool looking. And as you can see, the truck here says EMD on it, as well as H7CR4, which I'm assuming is high adhesion trucks maybe, but correct me if I'm wrong. Moving along here, we have some more electrical box equipment for the AC traction. Here is our 4,900 gallon fuel tank. You have to remember, these locomotives are really designed for heavy haul freight applications, like I said in the history. They are powerful locomotives because of that high adhesion, but also their tractive force. So yes, they didn't. Now, yes, they had 100 horsepower less than a Gevo, but these locomotives are still very popular, especially for coal drags or any heavy hauling, like heavy freights. We have some nice not truck deals, so some fuel tank details right here, as well as some piping details that run all along the width. And as you can see, there is that classic Western Pacific Feather River Route plaque, which is a very beautiful plaque. There is our there's our horn right there. I believe it's a K5 LLA. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not exactly an expert on horns. And you can see this is where the transition, how is that so hard to say? The transition between the green and the silver gray is that feather indication, which is actually a very pretty touch. I never actually noticed that on the actual locomotive. Moving along here to the rear here, it says, proud heritage, powerful future, Union Pacific, building America. And I believe building America is still their slogan at the moment. Here's our rear truck. And as you can see, it looks pretty much the same as the rear, only inverted. And I just remembered, here are the sand hoses right here. So when you need to add a little bit of sand to get some traction, those will eject sand. And here is our radiator section right here. And it's quite bulky and thick, which is a very interesting thing. And as you can see, here is we have some see-through grates. And as we move on to the dynamic brake section, you can see sort of through there. There you go, you can see my finger just see through that grate. And this is the thing I'm talking about. I don't exactly know what this is, so if somebody can please let me know, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna move on to the engineer's side. It's pretty much the same, there's only a few other differences. The major difference is that you will notice that there is the bell. The bell is right there, and it's a mechanical bell, not an e-bell. If I'm correct, early ST70s had metal bells as opposed to e-bells, so mechanical bells. I think that's pretty cool. Moving on to the fuel tank is the air tank reservoirs right here. And I just also noticed right there underneath the parking brake wheel right here is a jack pad. So that is pretty cool. Oh, and I just also noticed right there, there is a serial plaque right there indicating stuff about the locomotive and a big F for the front of the locomotive. All right, so now let's look at the roof of the locomotive. Alrighty, so we're looking at the top of the locomotive, and as I said, this is the modernized version of this locomotive because it has PTC on the roof of the locomotive. And there is the other grab iron that I did mention right there. And here are the sunshades above the cab windows right here. Moving the locomotive forward this way, you can see the exhaust port right here. And there's a better view of that horn, which I'm still convinced is a K5 LLA. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I do greatly appreciate that. There is our radiator section. As you can see, there are little hoses and pipes that are leading to the actual fans, which I believe is like electrical cables, so that the fan works. And there is our dynamic brake fan area and that grab iron that I did mention. And there is the sand filler hatch. All right, so now let's get into my final thoughts. All right, before I get into my final thoughts, quick track test indicated that the ditch lights work fine, and also the number boards do light up. And I forgot to mention, but there also are ground lights that do also light up, which is really cool. But anyway, into my final thoughts, this is a great looking locomotive. I didn't really have any problems with it except for those little glue blemishes that were underneath the anti-climber at the front of the locomotive. So I'm going to give this thing a solid A- for terms of it also ran very well. I'm just doing my quick little test now. And it just looks great. I mean, look at that beautiful colors, the beautiful contrast here. If I focus in on that side of the locomotive, look at it, looks very great. And I think Athearn did a really good job on this. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and also subscribe if you have not. And hit the notification bell to know when I upload. I try to upload on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So tune in at that day, on those days and at that time to see what I have to upload next. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.